Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it's so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, a hearty Tuesday morning to you. We got lots of breaking news here. Just got off the phone with Ken Hagan. Spoke with Eric Hart this morning of the TSA. Lots of Rays Stadium news coming your way momentarily. Welcome into the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the law offices of Christopher Palermo. You can reach him at palermopa.com if you have any issues with construction in your home or your business, stucco issues, storm intrusion issues. He can help you out. He's a bulldog. He will fight for you and get you some money that you richly deserve. That's at palermopa.com. Oh, we got to talk about money this morning. Lots of money. Billions of dollars in stadium and redevelopment. We're going to get to that news here in just a little bit as we set up the show for you. We got a little bit of everything here this morning. Nick Geddes from Outkick.com. How are you?
I would be a lot better if we were prepping for a Game 7 tonight. I'm not going to lie to you.
Boy, that would have been fun.
I
think we just found out why we're not.
Why is that?
The entire Lightning roster should not have played this series.
No, as John
would
Cooper,
not have played this series if it was a regular season.
As John Cooper said, it would have been the minor league team, half the minor league team playing if this was the regular season. And when we get to the injuries, you'll understand what we're talking about.
And again, this is not excuses or anything like that. Just as John Cooper pointed out, that's not what this team does. Everybody has injuries. I'm sure the injury list for the Avs is maybe as impressive. I don't know. But certainly this was critically disturbing, to say the least, when you hear all the names. We'll get to that in just a second. We should have the sound turned around too as well. Julien Brisebois is speaking with the media this morning. So he just quickly threw it. Belmar, meniscus, torn quad, McDonough, mangled finger, Cirelli, dislocated shoulder. One of my buddies told me that when he saw the hit, he's like, yeah, that thing popped out. On and on we could go. What else you got there? Did you get the MASH report?
Yeah, Brandon Hagel, foot fracture in the Florida series.
Whoa.
Nick Paul,
fracture. Okay.
Nick Paul, shoulder AC joint sprain and MCL sprain. Corey Perry, AC joint sprain. We had the Kucherov with the meniscus and McDonough with the mangled finger.
Kuch had a meniscus, huh?
Yeah, Cirelli
he definitely wasn't skating. Like
Cirelli, AC joint sprain. So it's a lot. And Belmar had a meniscus injury going into the playoffs and played the entire playoffs through it. We know these guys are warriors, but listen to the names that I just listed off there.
Yeah, those are debilitating injuries. Those clearly affect your speed and your ability to skate, most of those. And that was so apparent in the final that the Lightning just were outclassed in terms of speed and skating. It's one of the reasons they couldn't catch up to them on the power play, and continually, their penalty kill could not get clears. I mean, these are all, a lot of them are just really in puck management when you have AC joints and blah, blah, blah. So, again, it's not an excuse. It's a reason. These are facts. And so when you're looking ahead to next year, you just hope you have a little bit more luck with injuries and maybe you can play better. But we'll get into that in just a little bit. The Bucks are getting ready for training camp. They put out their training camp schedule. We haven't really talked about that this week. So we'll get into that a little bit with Scott Reynolds, who's going to join us at 10:30 from the Pewter Report. But we're going to start the show with the news involving the Rays Stadium. And I did speak with Eric Hart from the Tampa Sports Authority this morning, who was basically one of the point person on the meeting with the Rays and the negotiations, and also Ken Hagan, who's been obviously a huge part of this for the past 12 years. And there's a lot of stuff that, that they told me off the record. There's a lot of stuff that's on the record. There was an article in the Tampa Bay Business Journal last night that outlined a lot of this. Basically, it's kind of what we talked about months ago after the Sister City thing went down. The Rays have basically disengaged in terms of feeding information to Hillsborough County, Tampa side. They want to just get a number. They basically just asked for a number and said, how much are you willing to give? Give us a number. How much money are you willing to put in a pot? And that's not how this process works. It's not how the process never works like this. You have to be in concert with the city and the county that you're dealing with. And so that you can work through issues. And basically this is a negotiating ploy in my mind. That's my opinion, not theirs. This is in my opinion. And we told you this would happen after the sister city thing went down, that Stu would use St. Petersburg as leverage to get more money out of Hillsborough County. And so now what is he doing? He's cozying up to the mayor, the new mayor, using him as leverage. The new mayor is given the race a deadline of the 30th, which is at the end of this week, to know which side of the bay he wants him on, or they want to be on. Stu's not going to pay any attention to that deadline, or he'll give some false narrative that they're going to build in St. Pete. I still don't think that is what Major League Baseball wants, although I think Major League Baseball is getting as frustrated as anybody. And if St. Petersburg's going to pay for the whole stadium, or they have a benefactor or a local source of income that wants, and I've heard there's some big money that's sniffing around that wants to put into a stadium in St. Petersburg, why they wouldn't want to invest in Tampa and build a Battery or a Texas Live entertainment district around a stadium there, which is a proven model and works everywhere. If I'm a businessman, I would say, well, why would I want to invest $1 billion in this location when I can have where there's 670,000 people within a 30-minute drive, when I can have another location where there's 2.4 million within a 30-minute drive, and probably close to 7 million within an hour and a half drive in downtown Tampa when you include the Orlando market as well. So that makes no sense from a business standpoint. That's why I've always pointed to downtown Tampa as the spot to be. It fits. That's why the Rays have said many times that Tampa is the place to be. That's where they want to be. That's where they see their future. They've said that many times to the St. Petersburg Commission. They've said it to the people in Tampa, Hillsborough County Commission. They've said it publicly many times. Stu's words. The population of St. Petersburg cannot sustain a full-time baseball season. Those are his words. So if those are your words and that's what you've said, why are you now cozying back up to St. Pete? Because you're trying to get more money out of Hillsborough County. So to me, it's just nothing more than a negotiating ploy. But I think it's going to take a very serious tone here. And I think from a standpoint of Hillsborough County, their feeling is, look, we're not going to work this way. We're not going to just say, oh, we'll give you X amount of dollars, because where the dollars come from matters in terms of the design, the location. Is it in a community redevelopment area that qualifies for certain tax breaks? Is it because if it's not, then the money is totally different. So that's a perfect example of why you can't do it this way. You got to work together and point in, because the city side, the county side knows where the funding can come from, and it matters where you're located and how you're building, et cetera. Like, for instance, the K4 site, this may sound ridiculous to a lot of you, because it sounds ridiculous to me. If you put a roof on that, then it's going to exceed the height requirement for zoning in the historic Ybor area. Now, I think I even said it on the show. Well, that's certainly, you can rezone it. That's not going to hold up $1 billion project like this. But when I spoke to Ken, he's like, no, it will. They will not budge on that. The Ybor historic people will not budge on it, which you can have chickens running around. That's fine everywhere. But, you build a building, it's too tall. No, we can't have it. And I understand. I'm very respectful of those zoning things, because I love that when they preserve the historic feeling of it. But in this instance, it feels like you could work together and it would benefit everybody in terms of making it a better place for everybody, which is obviously the ultimate goal here, right? But anyway, that's a real thing. But are there other sites in Ybor City that are available? Yes. Found that out this morning. There are other sites other than the K4 site that are available and still could be workable projects. Now, the only guidance that the Rays have given to Hillsborough County is that they are going back to look to the original design of the stadium in Ybor. You remember that design, the translucent roof. I thought it was a beautiful design. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I think it would be fantastic right there. And there are still areas where that can happen. That design can work in Ybor City. Daryl Shaw owns a lot of that land, and Daryl, from my understanding, still has some places in that area that they could still fit that stadium. So that is still very much an option. And Daryl, who owns a lot of that money, or a lot of that property there, is a huge key to all this. And he's in constant contact with the Rays and on their side of it. So yeah, that's still very much an option. So this K-Force thing isn't the drop dead spot. And remember, you still have Brightline coming into downtown Tampa, which is going to provide a huge public transportation piece of this for especially for a regional impact of the stadium. I'm talking about people coming from Lakeland, Orlando, and points further as well as they connect. To there may be a time when we have an actual high-speed train from Miami to Orlando to Tampa, where you could start attracting even more people as long as you have that public transport into Tampa. So that's part of the downtown solution as well. The bottom line here is that the Rays continue to not negotiate in good faith. And there's a feeling, I think, among a lot of people that are involved in this process, that Stu is still pissed at Major League Baseball for shooting down his sister city plan, his little sister city plan. He's pissed at the people in Tampa for pissing on his sister city plan, for lack of a better term. And he's just, he's taking his ball and he's going to go to St. Petersburg for a while, and he's going to go over here and he's going to go over here. The bottom line is, if we had any competent ownership whatsoever, this deal would have been done. We'd be in that stadium now in Ybor. Bottom line, we'd be in that stadium in Ybor right now if he'd have just stepped up and paid half, and it would have been a lot cheaper. By the way, it'd been a lot cheaper. Now it's going to cost another probably $200 million to get this done, and it should have already been done. And I've been saying this forever. There's one person that is holding this whole freaking thing up. Everything else is in place. You have the market size. You have a willing constituency in Tampa. You have a huge fan base here. You have everything that you need. And you have a stadium site that's going to be in the middle of the market to access 2.4 million people within a 30-minute drive. You have everything. You have a government that's willing to pay half for you, which a lot of people would say that's ridiculous, with a guy who's got $500 million in the bank and has defrauded his partners, according to the lawsuit, allegedly. I mean, and on its face, it's hard to say, yeah, you're right. But you know what? We're still willing to do it. And he still won't step up and bargain in good faith. And why Major League Baseball, this man, Rob Manfred, comes in here and starts yelling at oh, you better get this done. You better, time's ticking. No shit. Time's ticking. We get it. Why don't you talk to your owner and say, hey, time's ticking. You got the money. You've been defrauding everybody, allegedly. Let's get the deal done in Tampa, where it needs to be generationally for Major League Baseball going forward, to attract the Orlando market and the Tampa market. Manfred knows that's where it should be. Why? And I told you this months ago when the Sister City thing went dead. Stu's going to go back to St. Pete and keep holding this up and delaying it and use one against the other. And, frankly, he might be able to make more money in the short run in St. Pete. And this is what really scares me. He can make more money probably in the short run with the redevelopment, the rights that he's got at the Tropicana Field site. And in the short run, he could set up that whole deal, take a big chunk of money up front like he did from the TV deal, and then squirreled it away in another company, according to the lawsuit, allegedly. And take that money, and then with a stadium, a beautiful stadium, maybe a beautiful new stadium in St. Petersburg that we still can't get to. But he's going to make a crap ton of money and then sell it and go, oh, well, here's your poorly located stadium. I'm out. That's what I'm scared of. And we're still going to have the same issues because this is not good for the fans. They polled the fans. Over 75% of the fans want the damn thing in Tampa. It's common sense. You're way closer to a lot more people. That's what the fans want. That's what Major League Baseball wants. That's what most everybody wants, except a few people in St. Petersburg. And frankly, Mayor Welch, if I may be candid, this is not a good move for you unless some private company is going to put their name on the stadium and pay for the whole damn thing. You expending $600 million or more to build a stadium in a failed location is bad business, especially when you can put a convention center on there and attract way more people and put way more people in beds and heads in beds than you will with a baseball team. That's just a fact. So that's bad business, Mayor Welch. Do what the mayor of Atlanta did and said, you want to move, Braves? I don't have the money for you, Go to Cobb County. My constituents can still go to Braves game. Most of your fans are up in the north side of the camp. Go ahead and do it. It's fine with me because I got other business here in downtown Atlanta that I need to take care of. And that's worked out famously for the city of Atlanta, for the Braves, for everybody. It's worked out tremendous. The template is right there. All we got to do is do the same damn thing. And the only thing that's holding it up is this freaking greedy guy who does not give a rat's ass about the people of St. Petersburg, or else he would have done a deal to get that thing redeveloped a long time ago. Doesn't give a rat's ass about his fans because the fans want it in Tampa. Doesn't give a rat's ass about his players because he prices the tickets so much that local people can't go, but Yankee fans will go because they only come here a few times a year. He has shown he sold out, tried to sell out the market with his stupid sister city idea. He has shown himself in every way to not give a rat's ass about anybody here except his pocketbook. That's it. And if you can't see that, you're freaking blind. And why the local media doesn't pick up on this and start pointing the finger at that guy and put some public pressure on that guy to get the damn deal done, he's holding it up for everybody else. Why is that not a thing? Why are people not talking about this? It's one dude. One dude. And I'm passionate about it because I don't want the Rays to leave this market, and I don't want the Rays to make the same mistake that the Marlins did and build a big old stadium in a not crappy, I love St. Petersburg, love downtown St. Petersburg, in a bad location in terms of demographics. Downtown St. Petersburg, amazing. They don't even need the stadium. They don't need the Rays. They got so much more that they got. And it's not a demographic that supports the Rays. So what are we doing here? What are we doing here? What are we doing? Major League Baseball, take some leadership, Rob Manfred. Go to your owner and say, get the deal done in Tampa. Start engaging with them in good faith. He's not doing it. He's not doing it. They're playing games. And if you care about this team, you better speak up and start making some noise. Because I'm telling you, if they build this stadium in St. Petersburg, it's only going to benefit Stu Sternberg. Because all the rest of us are still going to have to drive over the bridge with $10 a gallon gas and at some point. And it's not going to work. It's going to be a failed model. It's a failed location. How much more evidence do we need? This area loves the Rays. They love the Rays. They hate the owner. Look at the freaking template that the Lightning had put up. You centrally locate a stadium. You have good community relations. You become a great and look what Vinnick has done with that deal. That when he bought the Lightning, that was a land deal. But he also understood that if he engaged the community in a positive way, that he would get more fans, number one, but he would also get the benevolent help of a city that's willing to help him because he's willing to put out for them. You see how this works? You work together. You don't work separately. You don't work against everybody. You don't work in your own self-interest. When you work for the group, everybody has success. Look at Jeff Vinnick. He just gave $1.22 million to his full-time employees who then are giving it away in the community. And I'll never forget that conversation I had with Matt Silverman 10 years ago when Jeffrey Vinnick started this. And Matt said to me, oh, well, let's see if he's still doing that in a couple of years. Yeah, still going, Matt. Still going. I think it's over $11 million now given to the community. I think it's actually way more than that. So, I mean, this is what fires me up. And I just, for the life of me, I know I've been yelling and screaming at the top of my lungs about Stu, and it has reverberated in some places, but not enough. And I used to do it over at 620, and we saw where that got me, the Rays station. And if this is the game that they want to play, I've said this for so long. You got to get rid of this guy. In Major League Baseball, you have all the ammunition you need in that lawsuit. All the ammunition you need. And I just don't understand for the life of me why Rob Manfred doesn't see it. And yeah, Stu's pissed at Major League Baseball. You're pissed at him. Get rid of him. Get rid of him. You did it to Vince Naimoli. You could do it to Stu. This is on Major League Baseball more than anybody else because they have the power to get rid of him. And as soon as they do and install local ownership or just sane ownership that's not purely in it for their own self-interest and money, then we'll have something beautiful here that we can all be proud of. A beautiful gleaming stadium. We just had a bunch of Rays fans that went up to Atlanta and they're raving about the stadium. Oh, this place is great. And you know what? It doesn't have a roof either, folks. It's hot in Atlanta. Trust me that. And it rains in Atlanta too in the afternoon. Same thing. And the Battery, everything has just become, everybody's like, oh man, it's going to be a boon to the taxpayer. No, Cobb County's making a mint off this stadium in redevelopment fees. Don't believe what you read in the Atlanta Journal and Constitution. That you go talk to the people, the developers in Cobb County, and they'll tell you, and look at the tax base, which they has increased by tenfold. They built 10 new office buildings in that area. So much more redevelopment that has been poured into their now property tax dollars. It's a huge win for everybody. And we could do the same thing here in Ybor City, except for one man. And we have to have our voices heard, Rays fans. We've got to speak up. It's not this move the Rays to Tampa. It's like save our Rays. We got to save our Rays. Because I'm telling you, building this thing in St. Petersburg is going to be a disaster. If he wants to just, spit on everybody and go, oh, I'll just take the money over here. I know it's not going to work. I'll just sell it to somebody else and then I'm out. That's his plan. I'm sure it's his plan. But it's not what's good for the area. It's not what's good for the area. All right. Diatribe over. Your thoughts?
I don't know how I'm supposed to follow that, to be honest with you. My whole thing with this is I saw the story yesterday, which I don't know I'm sure you got a chance to read it, right? The Tampa Business Journal story.
Yeah.
And it's we're getting all these things leaked about Charlotte and Orlando and St. Pete. Not even one mention of the city of Tampa. Not even one mention of it. And it's obvious to you that it's a negotiating ploy to put this stuff out here. And what just doesn't make sense to me, it's we had this quote unquote deadline for June 30th. And I've been telling you, there's no way we're getting anything settled by this deadline. You could put whatever deadline you want. It's true that the Rays, just whatever reason, do not abide by these deadlines. I think we've learned that by now.
Yeah.
My problem is, 2027, we all know is when the lease is up and we're coming and Manfred has started to, talk more openly, I guess, about the Rays a little bit, not as much as I wish he would. He talks about the A's far more than the Rays for whatever reason. But with that being said, it's we need time to figure out where we're going to put this thing, how we're going to pay for it,
right?
How we're going to build it, what it's going to look like, and get the damn thing up. And does that all have to be up? Does that all have to be worked out when the Trop lease is up? Or are we going to be, the lease is up and we're still in the middle of building a stadium? Where are we going? You can't do that. And that's,
you could conceivably, play another year in the Trop, but who the hell wants to do that?
Nobody's going to want to do that. And it's how long is it going to take to build a stadium? I mean, how many years do we need for that? I don't know how fast they put these things up anymore. The Brave Stadium went up in 2.5, 3 years. Yeah, it takes time, and I understand you may look at it.
But that's without a roof too.
Yeah, that's without a roof.
With a roof, with the design, I would say it'd probably take a full 3 years.
Yeah,
and and we don't have the financing. If you had the end of it at the end of 2022, if you had a deal in place, I would say you're probably playing the 23, 24, 25, probably playing the 26, certainly the 27 season in the new ballpark.
And it wouldn't shock me at this point, given the way negotiations have gone for the last 15, almost 20 years now. It would not shock me, given that, let's say it takes 3 years to build a stadium. Let's just go with 3 years.
Right.
It would not shock me in the slightest at this point that we get nothing officially done for another 2 years, and we wait all the way to literally as far as you can get without doing something. It would not shock me in the slightest now. This all just feels like a whole roundabout game until we can get all the way as far as we can go with it, and then we're doing what we're going to do. That's what this feels like to me, and that's frustrating as a fan and somebody who loves this team. It's frustrating because there's so many good things to talk about the Rays organization.
Oh my God. Yes.
I mean, I know that this year the Rays are 8 games over 500 on the field. They've had a lot of injuries. We tell you all, we've been a little too hard on them. Maybe. I don't know. But there's a lot of great things about the Rays organization that we should be celebrating.
Absolutely.
And it just seems like we keep coming back to this issue because, number one, it is a big thing.
Yeah.
And this is obviously new news that we got yesterday, but it's tiring. it's tiring to always come back to this and have to divert away from this team and the people that are in the organization because of one person and one issue. It really is for me at this point.
I agree 100%. And that's why, I said this, gosh, it's got to be 3 years ago when I was working I was over at the baseball meetings in Orlando. And this was right after, I think, the deal to get the raise to E-Board. The original deal was scuttled because Stu wouldn't put up half the money. That was the problem. It wasn't about lack of corporate support. That's complete bullshit. We have documents that show that that's not true. So it's all, and I said then, why don't you just, do your mea culpa and say, Rays fans, Tampa Bay, I'm all in with you. Let's get this thing done. And, you guys pay half, we pay half. We build an entertainment district around it that'll pay, that'll benefit everyone, the area, redevelop the Trop site. That'll be better for everybody there because it's not really a great location for baseball, which they've said many, 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 many times. How's he gonna build in St. Petersburg when we have all this sound of him at the podium going, St. Petersburg cannot be a full-time market for baseball. It just doesn't have the population. It doesn't have the demographics. Everybody knows that. That's a fact. That's just a fact. If you don't know this, we'll repeat it for you. Major League Baseball has long had a rule that you can't build a stadium with less than 1.2 billion or million people within the 30 minutes distance because it's an urban game. You have to be able to get to the ballpark and get home in a reasonable fashion because of the Monday through Thursday games that we have. That there's so many of them, and that's what baseball has to survive on that time frame. And we are half of what the next lowest one is. I think Pittsburgh's at 1.4. I think it is. So it's not even close to what it should be. And you're going to build you're going to put another $1 billion down in a failed location like that? That's just moronic. I mean, Ken Welch, this is your first major move as a mayor to put your city in debt. And basically it's a $2 billion hit. It's the $1 billion you're going to put out to build that and the $1 billion you would have made redeveloping it for something more positive. I mean, yeah. Will you still have people coming to games and traveling to St. Petersburg? Yes, but not like you would for a convention center, not like you would for other development that you desperately need, like affordable housing, which is part of your campaign promises. I just think it's a bad deal for Mayor Welch and a bad deal for St. Petersburg.
Yeah, and more so than ever, I've always been one of those guys who I never mind driving to the stadium because I love the team. I never have. I'm probably one of the more supporters of the Trop that are out there, to be honest. I just, for whatever reason, I'm just conditioned to love that place. It's probably more so what it is, but I do. But this year, given the way things are in the world and in the country in regards to like the economy and inflation, things like that,
yeah, that's the other problem.
I have sympathized a lot more with the whole issue of gas and having, I guess, more disposable income. And I say that too as somebody who's young and is starting to do all these quote unquote adult things as well.
Yeah, buying houses and things. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a reason why I have not been to a Rays game yet, because it's not because I don't want to go. It's a lot of factors in there. So I more so than ever, I've realized this year that stadium is just not feasible long term. It's just not feasible.
The location is not feasible.
And the more that I've spent time in St. Pete, and this is on me as well. I usually would just go to St. Pete literally to go to Rays games, and that's it. The more I've been around the downtown area, the more I've been around the new things they put, and I've got to, get to know people that are there. I've come to the conclusion it's just not a baseball market.
No,
it's not a baseball market. It's not the demographic that baseball fans are in. I don't think it's any close. For the Rowdies, to me, are tailor-made for that area.
Way better demographic.
And Rays baseball, and baseball in general in the Tampa area, given the roots in West Tampa and all the Hall of Fames we have go up, all the history we have. There's really not a discussion when you look at it. I mean, I guess money is the only thing that's holding this back. It's one of the things. Stu and money, I guess, whatever.
Yes.
But everything else, it points to an easy decision, in my opinion.
It's frustrating. It's frustrating because again, it's one man, and Major League Baseball should be better than that. It's you can't have one person deciding so much for so many. It's just not right on so many levels. All right, we will take a break. When we come back, we're going to switch gears and talk a little football with our good friend Scott Reynolds from Pewter Report. They're doing all their position-by-position analysis as we get set for training camp. The training camp schedule is out. Certainly some controversy there that we can discuss. Scott Reynolds joins us next. Quick break. Stay with us. The world economy is in chaos, and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new, healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized, preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle. Building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care, and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Have you purchased a home in the last 10 years and the stucco is starting to come loose from the upstairs portion? Well, that can cause some serious damage that you can't see until it's too late. Is it becoming an eyesore? Have you contacted the builder and just can't get any relief? That's very common here in Florida. So call the law offices of Christopher Palermo. They can help you. Call 813-221-5636. That's 813-221-5636. He's recovered millions for his clients. The law offices of Christopher Palermo at PalermoPA.com.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back. Sorry, I was preoccupied with a video somebody sent me. I did not see this. So with 25 seconds left in the game, after Kucherov breaks his stick on a would-be equalizer, I guess he went to the bench to get another stick, and they didn't have a stick ready for him, and he just took off his gloves.
He just took off his gloves and chucked them at the equipment manager, and I think he might have not gone back out on the ice, I don't think.
Did somebody else go on for him?
I hope so.
I go look at the tape.
But yeah, 20 seconds left. Not the, I guess, greatest moment for him there, but I mean, emotions are running hot.
Yeah, he's I would imagine. What was his injury? Let's go to the list. He had a torn meniscus.
I don't know if it was torn. It was just meniscus was
straight.
Generally,
probably. Yeah. And remember when he went into the boards?
Yeah.
So that was what game?
That was game
3.
Yeah.
Game 3, and he wasn't. You just never saw, like what he did to Ekblad and some of the, some of those other moves. You never saw that dynamic ability. All right, Scott's in. Let's grab him. Without further ado, we want to welcome in our good friend Scott Reynolds from the Pewter Reports, joining us here. What's up, Scotty? How are you, my friend?
Good, guys. How are you?
Well, we're still in memoriam.
Yeah, I know.
Lightning. But did you see the list of injuries?
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, this is something that we really kind of paid attention to for the first time after the Lightning won the Stanley Cup, right? A couple of years ago, and then last year. Yeah. This is like an annual thing. It's like, here's the rundown of the entire team and all the injuries they were playing with and playing through. And so, yeah, it's stunning. I mean, it proves to me, and I cover football for a living. And listen, Football is nothing but 17 car crashes during a 4 to 5 month period. And then it's a couple more car crashes if you make the playoffs and go into the postseason. That's the physical toll that it takes. The difference, though, is you have a whole week to recover in football. And in hockey, it's like sometimes, you get 2 days off in between games. Other times it's like, a day. And then that day is spent on a plane sometimes flying across the country or out of the country to Canada, and to deal with those injuries. It's brutal. It is the most brutal sport. It's the biggest tough guy sport there is. I did not have an appreciation for hockey until really this last decade is really when I started following the Bolts. I wasn't even a Lightning or a hockey fan when they won the first Stanley Cup. It just wasn't on my radar. But this John Cooper led hockey team has just spurred my love for the game and for the team. And the injuries, there's no doubt it's the toughest sport.
I'll just go back to, when I followed the team during that 04 run. So I was basically in the locker room after every game. And that's where you really see the toll. You don't see it out on the ice. This is where you see, Marty take off his skate and his big toe is bigger than, your thigh. Yeah. Because it's all swollen up and he has to drain it every game in order to go out there and play. And then they shoot it up with guys, literally there's more stitches, guys, pieces of, ear hanging off while you're doing an interview. I mean, it's not hyperbole.
Not to mention the dental work. It's like most people hate going to the dentist, period. Right. And that's for, I need a filling. I've got a root canal. Right. It's like, no, but you didn't have your friggin' teeth knocked out by a puck or a stick. And by the way, they don't leave the game to go to the dentist. Like they play, like they literally keep playing. Yeah. And sometimes without a friggin' mouth guard, right? They just keep playing. It's like they'll go to the dentist tomorrow. A lot of times it's like, hey boss, gosh, my tooth is really bothering me. I called the dentist. They can get me in for an emergency filling. Can I leave? I mean, that's what you and I go through. These dudes are just tough as nails, man.
And how about the fact that, you go to every press conference and, geeks like us are coming in there with their microphones going, why do you guys look so slow against the Avalanche? They seem to have a speed advantage. And you just so badly want to say, dude, my meniscus is ripped off. Yeah, exactly. My AC joint is out. Right. What the F do you want from me? And they got to go, well, they're a fast team and we're just trying to work our system. That must be so hard for them to
well, the other thing too is again, going back to the physicality of it, like, and I'm guilty of it too. Listen, we've exchanged some texts. I'm like, boy, they're looking slow tonight. I mean, I'm guilty of it. I am. But the thing is too, it's like the other flip side, to go back to the physicality point, is like, they're really not checking a lot tonight. They're not really playing that physical. Well, yeah, because 3 out of the 5 skaters on the ice have like AC joint issues. What do you want them to do?
I'm gonna go hit you with my
board
shoulder.
Somebody, yeah, exactly.
Board somebody while and just know that when I hit that guy, I'm gonna have a shooting pain running through my body. Yeah, it's not. Our brains are wired for survival. Yes. And it's hard to get you, and yet they still overcome it.
I know.
They play their ass off. It's unlike
I've come to the realization
baseball players.
Yeah, I've come to the realization not only is hockey the most physical sport, it's also the toughest. And the reason why is because most human beings, the vast majority of human beings, can walk and run. Okay. And that's natural and normal. It's like, JP, when I don't know who taught you how to walk, your mom or your dad, but it wasn't like, let's say it was your mom. It wasn't like she called your dad at work and said, oh my gosh, I got little JP skating today. When you're like 4, 5, 6 months old. No, it was like, I taught him how to walk today. Right. Yeah. And then it's like, oh, look, little JP, he was running around the house today. It wasn't JP was skating around the house today. Right. Walking and running is natural and normal. Soccer players do it. Tennis players do it. Football, baseball, basketball players do it. And to be able to move like that on skates, and be able to do things like Kucherov does, which is like make some crazy cool passes, right? Or poke checks like Hedman, or shots like Stammer, or saves like Vasilevsky. To do all of that on something that is totally unnatural
Yes.
on skates on
Great
ice.
point.
By the way, ice, that's where people fall down.
And it
Okay.
hurts.
It hurts. And people fall down on ice. And so for these athletes to do the crazy cool things that they do on ice, it trumps everything on grass, on hardwood, on clay, on whatever. It just does.
How about if we put a bunch of hard boards around the football field?
Yeah. Right.
And when you run out of bounds,
Yeah.
you run full force into them because that's
Yeah.
what hockey players do.
Exactly. It's almost like in elementary school, right? Where it's like you had your PE, you had your gym, right? And then when you had the basketball, hoops, right?
Right.
Then you'd have about 12 inches. Then you'd have a concrete wall. They put up a little padding on it right there, right?
Right.
But it's like you're right. I mean, like change that to where you have out of bounds in like a couple inches, you have boards. Right?
Yeah, but they give. Okay, oh, sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, tell me that when your shoulder and you lose your skates and you go full force, head and shoulder into the boards behind the net, like Braden Point did. I mean, it's just
head first into it. That's the thing. It's like, gosh, man.
Wow. Yeah, it's the RO to hockey players and the Lightning after this run. It's incredible. All right, so we all love the Bucks. We love them, and I preface this question by saying I think Brian Ford has done an amazing job in the time that he's been there. For the people, for the fans, they've just become so fan centric over the past 10 years since he's been there. He's the one running out giving waters out at training camp. I love it.
He walks the walk and talks the talk, and does everything.
And as I've said on this program, his success story is made up of some of the greatest hardworking anecdotes that you'll ever hear. I mean, this is a guy that drove from Tallahassee to Miami every week, twice a week, to do his job while he was finishing up his senior year.
Yeah. He's the Jason Light of the Bucks front office, but like on the business side, not the football side.
So I preface that by saying it hurts me when they lock out the general public of training camp. I understand they're running a business and they want to provide things for their season ticket members. I would love to see a night practice, at least one that's open to the general public in the stadium. It's a public stadium, by the way.
Yeah.
A lot of public money went into that nice, beautiful $1 place there. A lot of taxpayers paid for a lot of that. So I think they have an obligation to open it up, and they're not doing it.
Yeah.
So your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I do think that would be the goodwill gesture. That would be the salve on the wound, if you will, for the season ticket holders, or I should say for the non-season ticket holders, to be able to go see Tom Brady for free, right? Is that one night practice, right? And now the challenges of that, and I've talked to people within the team, is when is training camp? Summer. What does it do every friggin' day in the Sunshine State in the summer? It rains. When does it typically rain? It usually rains in the early evening time, right? So, and sometimes we'll get an early afternoon shower. Sometimes it's around, dinner time. Sometimes it's around sundown, whatever. We saw that with the Lightning, the other night when they tried to do Thunder Alley in the rain, right? So that happens sometimes. And I think that practicing at the stadium, it's not as easy as it is practicing at the facility. And so there's a lot more involved, from security, from parking, concessions, all that stuff. And so it's a huge undertaking. And when you're doing it for a quote unquote free event, right? There is some trouble involved in that. It's just not the easiest thing, but you'd like to see it as a goodwill gesture, especially when your coffers are full, man. Like you've got a sold out stadium.
Yeah.
And it's not like it was in 2018 or 2017 where you might have 40,000 people show up, if you're lucky, to a game. So I agree. I think that should have been done, but it's not as easy as we think it is.
Yeah, I agree. And maybe they'll rethink it. They got a little bit of time. It just seems like it would really fit into their culture that they've created here locally. I think they've done a tremendous job, because you and I both know that the Glazers were vehemently not liked in this area for a long time, and for a while there was good reason. And when they went to the Manchester United, they didn't spend a lot of money on the Bucks. There wasn't a payroll floor back then, and they took full advantage of it.
It wasn't just the players. It was Raheem Morris, the cheapest coach, and Mark Dominic, the cheapest general manager in the league too.
Yeah. So they made a lot of business decisions that weren't very popular. But since then, they have done a tremendous job of investing into the team, investing into the community. And I think they're one of the best ownership groups in football right now.
I agree.
So this just doesn't fit. It doesn't.
I agree. At the same time, though, and I'm not making excuses. I'm just pointing out some facts. A lot of teams do the same thing.
Oh,
and actually, the Buccaneers open dates for fans. They actually have a couple more than some other teams, right? So the Bucs aren't the best in terms of this, but they're not the worst either.
No,
so I think that's fair to point out.
Absolutely.
But yes, the fact that they've done some of these night practices before, and I think the thing too, JP, is when they have done the night practices, and you remember those back in the day under whether it was Greg Schiano did one, Raheem Morris did one. That's when they needed the fans. They're trying to draw support. And I'd like for the Bucs to be consistent, right?
Yeah.
It seems like they reach out to the fans when they need the fans,
right?
But when they don't need the fans, when you got a Tom Brady, when they got a full stadium, it's kind of like it's just a little standoffish sometimes, and that's not Brian Ford's fault. I mean, he is, he's an absolute ace.
Yeah,
I just would love to see. And here's the thing: you see it in Jeff Vinnick, and I'm not trying to bash the Blazers and prop Vinnick up here. But man, it's like there's going to be a point in time when the Lightning don't have the players. Right?
Exactly.
Like nothing lasts forever. Look at New England with Bill Belichick. At some point in time, the dynasty ends.
It's going to end. Yeah.
And it's going to end. But you know him way more and better than I do. I don't think Jeff Vinnick's approach to fans, to the team, to the city is going to change one iota, whether they are winning Stanley Cup championships or missing the playoffs.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And you see two different Blazers. You see two different Bucs teams, how they treat the fans when they're losing and how they treat the fans when they're winning. And I'd just like to see it more consistent.
I agree 100%. We're just trying to help the Bucs here. We're just trying to talk through
constructive criticism. Yeah.
I think this would really be good for you. You're doing so many good things.
Yeah.
So let's keep it going. All right, let's talk about training camp itself. I love the fact they're going to have two. They're going to go to the Titans and work out with them, right? Mm-hmm. And then the Dolphins are coming here,
right?
Those practices are just so good for the team, so good for the fans, so good for the media. We really get to see, some good on good, and it gives you a feeling for which players. I mean, because I remember watching, I think it was Kyle Trask when he was going up against the Bucs and third teamers. I was like, wow, this guy really looks good. And then when the Titans came in, it was like, okay. Yeah. This is more like real NFL football, and he's a little confused out there. So it really gives us a good look, right?
Yeah, it does. And you mentioned Kyle Trask. No one's going to benefit from these practice sessions with the Dolphins and Titans more than Kyle Trask because there's no more fourth preseason game, right?
Yep.
So you have 3 preseason games. That means ultimately more reps are going to go to the starters, right? Because you don't have those 4 extra quarters, to kind of get everybody in the game, right? I mean, you've got the first preseason game, and then that second preseason game really it kind of mirrors how the old third preseason game was, which is that's where the starters play usually into the third quarter, right?
Yeah.
And then that final preseason game, that's kind of the garbage game where Trask will play a lot, the backups play a lot, et cetera. But the problem is you miss all those reps in the second preseason game, in the old second preseason game, where starters would play maybe a quarter rather than the first series. And then the backups are in for 3 quarters. So Kyle Trask and the younger players, the Rashad Whites even, right? The rookies, the draft picks this year, the Zion McCollums.
Yeah.
They're going to be missing out on a lot of reps without having that extra preseason game, but they're going to get a ton of reps against really good teams in practice. And I think that's where you kind of make up for some of those lost reps because they're not going Bucs on Bucs or good on good. Right. They're going on opponent versus the Buccaneers, opponent versus the Buccaneers in those 2 Titans and Dolphins games. So I think that's a great solution to missing out on that fourth preseason game. Get a couple of opponents in training camp and go at it.
Yeah, those are kind of replacing those reps that they're missing in the preseason, which is fine and probably better for it because they can control it a lot more in practice than they can in the game. So it's really good work. As Scott Reynolds joins us here from Pewter Report. I saw you guys put up a story about the Bucs secondary got a great ranking from Pro Football Focus.
Mm-hmm.
which I guess surprised some.
Yeah.
But I'm excited about seeing this secondary, especially with the additions that they've made.
Right.
What are your thoughts?
I'm excited about it because the emphasis from Kevin Ross, the cornerbacks coach, and Nick Rapone, the safeties coach, has been more interceptions. It's making plays, and I think where the culture changed. And listen, Herm Edwards was a great secondary coach here under Tony Dungy in Tampa, right? I mean, he's one of the best when it comes to coaching secondaries. He was a star corner for the Philadelphia Eagles back in the day. Actually had the Miracle in Meadowlands play. That was him, right?
Yeah,
so he knows what he's doing. But when Mike Tomlin came in, he challenged the Bucs secondary. And this is back in 2001. And he was a young, fresh coach out of college. And he challenged the Bucs secondary and said, listen, we're not celebrating PBUs anymore, which is pass breakups. Okay. A PBU is a dropped interception in my eyes.
Yep.
So we're not doing, this right here where like, you're waving your hands or you're not high-fiving, each other over pass breakups. We're celebrating interceptions.
Right.
And it took a year to build that culture. And then guess what, JP? In 2002, the Buccaneers recorded a franchise record 31 interceptions. 31. Now, Derek Brooks, who's not a DB, he's his own DB, right? DB 55. I think he had 5 of them that year, right?
Yeah.
But if you add up all the ones from the secondary, it's still around 20. That's a ton. That's a ton of interceptions. And when
a lot of takeaways.
When you look at that compared to the fact that the Bucs 3 starting corners last year, Jamel Dean, 2 interceptions, Carlton Davis, 1 interception, Sean Murphy-Bunting, 0 interceptions. When you're getting 3 combined interceptions out of your 3 starting cornerbacks, not good enough.
Not working.
And so I think that the PFF ranking, I think if these guys are healthy and playing to their full potential, it's a talented secondary. It just is. But even when Sean Murphy-Bunting came back from that injury, he didn't pick off a pass. He wasn't that good. Carlton Davis came back and dropped more interceptions than he picked off. So I think that with Jamel Dean being in a contract year, Sean Murphy-Bunting being in a contract year, Mike Edwards, the guy that will pick off passes, he's going to get on the field more, replacing Jordan Whitehead. He's a natural ball hawk, right? He led the team with, I think, 3 interceptions last year. He should have 5 or 6. He's that caliber of player. And if you get 5 or 6 interceptions, you're going to the Pro Bowl and you're going to get a huge contract. So I think with more playing time, if he can stave off Keanu O'Neal and be more physical, he's great in coverage. So it should be really good. But the 2 things that have to happen for the secondary to live up to that lofty PFF ranking, stay healthy, and then make plays, get interceptions, turnovers, takeaways, whatever you want to call them, get the ball back for your offense.
Yeah, I don't think it's any accident that Zion McCollum had a lot of picks in college, right? It's a guy who knows how to catch the ball when he's out there. And that it seems kind of elementary because, anybody like you going back to what we can do, we can catch a ball.
Right.
I mean, how many times have we seen Jamel Dean just drop? Like, how do you not catch that?
Right.
Zion McCollum, how many interceptions did he have? Like 11 one year?
He had see, that's the beauty of him is he didn't have like one big, huge, gaudy year that inflated the stats.
Right.
He had 4 years out of his 5 because he played a COVID year. 4 years out of 5 with 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
Right. So that's 12. And then he had another interception 1 year, which was his down year. Right. So he had 13 total interceptions in 5 years. I mean, that's tremendous production. It just is.
Yeah. And so that's something that where they can improve dramatically. And I think we're going to just see a faster, more reactive and more versatile defense this year. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I do think that having Todd Bowles as the, as the defensive, minded head coach, I think it's just going to, I think the defense is going to kind of take the lead. Right. And what I mean by that is when John Gruden came in 2002, I mean, they kept the defensive staff intact. Joe Barry, Mike Tomlin, Rod Marinelli, and Monty Kiffin, right? And that was the strength of the team. John Gruden even told the defense, hey, it's going to take me a while to get this offense going. Defense, I need you to step up and lead the way. If you remember back in week 2, Derek Brooks had a pick six, one of many that year, one of his 5 interceptions. They beat the Chris Redmond led Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore. I think it was like 15-0 or something like that.
Yeah.
Right. And,
Yeah.
But that's how they had to win early on. And Gruden told him like you got to be dominant. You got to help us carry the day. And listen, this offense with Tom Brady doesn't need the defense to carry the day. But I just think that the defense is naturally going to have a little bit more oomph with Todd Bowles as the head coach. It's one thing to let the defensive coordinator down or your position coach down. It's another thing to let the new head coach down. Oh, and by the way, he happens to be your DC. And those numbers I rattled off about Zion McCollum, I'm not making a correlation because they're 2 different players, certainly in size. But just to put it in perspective, in 3 years, we talked about Zion McCollum having, 13 interceptions in 5 years. Rondé Barber, the best ball hawk in Tampa Bay history and one of the best in NFL history, had 15 interceptions in 3 years at Virginia. 8 his first year, 4 the next, and then 3 after that. So 15 interceptions in 3 years. That's a lot of interceptions. So I don't care whether you play 3 years or 5 years.
That ain't an accident.
If you get over 10 interceptions, dude, you're a ball hawk.
Yeah, that's not an accident. That's a guy that knows how to do it. And it's a definite skill to it. Another thing I know we talked a little bit about this, but it seems to sway back and forth. Is the Gronk, will he or won't he? I still am convinced that he's coming back at some point. He just doesn't want to deal with everybody asking him and blah 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 blah. And so this retirement has kind of put that on ice a little bit, and then he can kind of make up his own mind. I just don't think Brady would come back if he didn't think he's too important a piece. Is what I'm saying.
I agree. And listen, I was on your show last week, right before he retired, saying he's coming back. So I got to eat my words here. He fooled me, but I will say this: there's 2 things. Number one, and there's not many pro athletes that I wouldn't take at their word, right? But Rob Gronkowski, who has been known to play a practical joke or 2, right?
This is true.
I could see him play he could pull a Tom Brady, which is wait 40, 41 days, whatever the number was. And then the first week of training camp, just literally walk out, with the pads on. I'm here, guys. I could totally see it. I could see him pull a Tom Brady as a practical joke and unretire, right? Just in time for training camp. Like I could, I'm not ruling that out.
It's important as he is, right?
Yeah.
If he really wasn't playing, I think you would have seen a reaction from the Bucs staff.
Yeah.
Or, these prepared statements and blah, blah.
Right.
Even when Todd Bowles is doing his interview, it's like, these guys would be freaking out if they did, if they thought for sure that it's too big of a hole, right?
Yes, it is.
They would have signed Jared Cook already.
Correct.
Or somebody.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. I agree. And
they ain't going to training camp with 2 rookies and Cam Brate.
I agree.
Ain't no freaking way. Oh, sorry, Cody McElroy. My bad.
Right. And that's why my conspiracy theory mind's working a little bit here, is because I'm thinking they haven't signed anybody yet, right?
Right.
And listen, here's the thing: if Gronk is going to retire, or if he's not going to come back till later on, don't be alarmed that the Bucs haven't signed anybody yet either, because Jason Light has added Jaquez Smith, claimed off of waivers in 2014, who ended up being a starter that year.
Yeah.
Same with Carl Nassib, added him, claiming him off waivers. Now, what waivers, that means after the training camp cuts have come down, this is the week before the season opener in 2014, got Jaquez Smith, who, by the way, finished 2nd in sacks that year. Then in 2018, claimed Carl Nassib off waivers, same thing.
Yeah.
Nassib came in and got 6 or 7 sacks that year as well.
Really good player. Yeah.
Both of those guys played in week 1 too, so they're off the street and playing it in week 1. Same thing with Leonard Fournette, cut by the Jaguars a week before the season starts in 2020. Bucs sign him, right? He ends up being playoff Lenny that year. So Jason Light will wait sometimes, and the beauty is if you're signing Jared Cook, guess what? Jared Cook knows how to block.
Yep.
Doesn't do it very well, but he knows how to do it. He knows how to run routes, right? Same thing with Jimmy Graham. Same thing with Kyle Rudolph. All the names that are out there right now. Those guys, they're pros. They know how to play.
Right.
They're not going to need a bunch of time. Why bring those guys in now and steal training camp reps from Kate Otten, who needs them, Coke Heaft, who needs them,
Yeah.
JJ Howland, Ben Bias, Cody McElroy. Those guys, this team wants to get a look at. It's the same thing at outside linebacker. This team wants to look at Cam Gill. They want to look at Elijah Ponder. They want to look at Andre Anthony. And they don't want a veteran coming in stealing 15, 20 reps, developmental reps from those guys every day, right? Because it's not just 15 reps of practice. It's 15 reps times 30, right? And you're stunting the growth of some of these younger players by doing that. If they want to bring in Justin Houston, right, or Carlos Dunlap or whoever, they can do that like right before the season starts. Jason Line's done that. It's worked. So having said that, even if this team doesn't sign a Kyle Rudolph or Jimmy Graham or Jared Cook right now, they could right before the start of the season, or Gronk might come back right before the start of the season, or it might be a thing, JP, where Gronk is listening to his body and saying, listen, I'm not going to hold up for 17 games, man.
Right.
I'm just not.
Yeah.
I'm just not.
I'll come back week 8.
Yeah. I stand a better chance coming in, like after the bye week, right? Like I'll come back before the bye week, right? I'll use that to get in shape, and then I'll help the team down the stretch. Like I could see that situation happening too. So there's a lot of different scenarios out there, from the practical joke to the coming in right before the start of the season to the coming in at midseason. I buy any of those more so than I'm done.
Yeah, and I think Brady would want him from the first game. I mean, I know would probably wait for week 6, but I think Brady's probably focusing on just get here by week 1, because he knows that it's all important.
Sure.
Especially with the schedule. The schedule's brutal.
It is. And
it starts right away. So it's not like, hey, we got a few cupcakes early, you sit those out. No, we're in, it's day one. Those first 4 weeks are a gauntlet. So my guess is it's, after training camp is done and they get into the regular practices, I think that's when we'll see them.
Yeah, you're right. There's no Georgia Southerns on this schedule for you Florida fans, and there's no Jacksonville States on this schedule for you Florida State fans.
Thank God. All right, what's going on at Pewter Report in this quote downtime?
We're still cranking out stories. I mean, we're not taking any time off. We're getting ready for this Bucs training camp, which is exciting. We're putting up, 2, 3, 4 stories a day on pewterreport.com. Make sure you check it out. We also have our Pewter Report podcasts that are still going strong 4 days a week. That's Monday through Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern time on our YouTube channel, Pewter Report TV. So make sure you check that out live. We do live podcasts at 4 o'clock, Monday through Thursday. If you missed the live show, good news. All of them are up there in our archived podcast versions. So you can watch or listen to those at your leisure. And you can also follow us on social media at Pewter Reports on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And of course, visit us at pewterreport.com for all the Bucs content year round.
It's great stuff. And he's a great guy. Scott Reynolds right there.
Appreciate you, JP.
Thanks, partner. Appreciate it.
Got it.
Chat with you later. All right, we're going to take a quick break here after I tell you about the Golden Diamond Source. It is one of the greatest fun places you can go. You don't think about shopping like, oh, you got to go get something for somebody. It's actually fun. You go over there and look at all the bling bling. There's a lot of bling bling there. It's fun. Go in there. They got some great watches for you guys. If you're into rings and specific things, necklaces or whatever, gorgeous things there as well. Always great prices, different budgeting, whatever your budget is, they have it there for you. And the staff is fantastic. That's why it's easy to go in there instead of, you can look around and enjoy just looking around, but just talk to somebody and like, hey, what are you looking for? Yeah, I got, $100. I'm going to buy some earrings from my girl. Okay, come on over here. Let me show you some stuff. I got $50. I got $10,000. I want to buy a ring. Whatever it is, whatever your budget is, welcome in, come on in. We'll show you whatever is in that category. And you're going to walk out very, very happy customer. If you're looking to get that engagement ring right now, you don't have a lot of money. That's cool. They have 0% financing for 5 years. That's a great deal. And if you want to bring your ring back or bring your diamonds back, they'll give you full value for something else you want to shop for. So it's like shopping with family, because they are family. Julie and Steve Weintraub, it's a family-run business. All their kids are involved, and we love keeping it local here, right? We love supporting all those local businesses. Never been more important. So check them out. It's Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Almaton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. All right, when we come back, we're going to get into a couple things. The Deshaun Watson situation. We're hearing it's a year-long suspension, but that is not the final word. So we'll get into that and more on the Rays Stadium situation in case you missed that. Stay with us.
Cryptocurrency is all the rage today. The market cap for the industry is now over $1 trillion. And you read about people making millions of dollars, right? You want to get in, but have no idea what to do? Or maybe you dabbled a bit and you want to unlock the real money-making opportunities and don't know how to do it. There are over 10,000 tokens and thousands of decentralized finance exchanges to navigate. So what do? You go to DeFiLava.com. The folks at DeFiLava.com are in Tampa Bay, and they work with you directly to set up custom accounts, answer all your questions, and provide market analysis. Decentralized finance and cryptocurrencies are here to stay and will change the financial markets as we know them. Get in the game. Get with the experts at DeFiLava.com and tell them JP sent you and get their free 2022 crypto market forecast today at DeFiLava.com. Don't get left behind, folks. Make some money at DeFiLava.com.
The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized, preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle, building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care, and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Italiano Insurance has been serving and working in our community for over 60 years, and it's not just about insuring all the pieces of your life. Italiano is as much a part of Tampa Bay as the Cuban sandwich, Gasparilla, and our Bucks, Lightning, and Rays. They're also active supporters of great charities like the Humane Society, Metropolitan Ministries, and local pediatric cancer centers. Hey, we all need insurance, so do business with a local company with a commitment to our community. Don't call some 1-800 number. Call Italiano and be greeted by one of your neighbors. That's 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com. Named the Small Business of the Year by the Tampa Chamber. 813-877-7799. The world economy is in chaos and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Have you purchased a home in the last 10 years and the stucco is starting to come loose from the upstairs portion? Well, that can cause some serious damage that you can't see until it's too late. Is it becoming an eyesore? Have you contacted the builder and just can't get any relief? That's very common here in Florida. So call the law offices of Christopher Palermo. They can help you. Call 813-221-5636. That's 813-221-5636. He's recovered millions for his clients. The law offices of Christopher Palermo at PalermoPA.com.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Let's rock.
This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center. In our second hour, Christopher Lugo and his medical team over there will take great care of you. Everything is personalized, a personalized diet, personalized exercise program, personalized program to get your immune system back up and running, to prepare you for the second pandemic that our president has told us is coming. It's incredible. He has such Nostradamus-like powers. So get in shape, folks. If you've been kind of putting this off, and I got to tell you, there's so many great modern techniques. Fasting is something that a lot of people are doing with great success, and they can help you in that area as well. Finding out what things that you're eating are really holding you back, because it just could be one thing that you're doing that is causing you to be sluggish, to get brain fog, whatever it is, and they'll find that out and they'll correct it for you. So that's why they've had so much success with their patients. It's Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. You can contact them through the website and tell them JP sent you. We'd appreciate that. All right, lots of stuff. We're going to reset here at the top of the 11 o'clock hour. We came out this morning. I talked to both Eric Hart at the TSA and Ken Hagan this morning. And basically what they both told me is the Rays are just not engaged. And where they have been in the past, since the sister city plan was nixed by Major League Baseball, it seems like the Rays have kind of taken their ball and gone home. Stu's playing that, just playing games again. Will not engage in any meaningful discussions. They're not talking about what their design is, what their costs are, what they're thinking. They just want a number from the TSA, and they're not going to do business that way. They basically said, well, just look at our studies that we put out, which basically said they have $300 million available. Now, what that means is, that's just a baseline and very conservative estimates at that. And now if they can engage the Rays in meaningful discussions where they can start talking about the CRAs, the community, what is it? It's community I want to get this right, redevelopment areas. And, it's just, if the stadium is in one of those areas, then it unlocks a lot of. So how can the city of St. Pete or city of Tampa and Hillsborough County tell them how much money they're going to get if we don't know where the stadium is going to be, how big it's going to be, if it needs a roof, if it doesn't need a roof? I mean, all these things are absolutely crucial questions to come up with a smart plan for everybody. And it's just like Stu is just being extremely disingenuous, not bargaining in good faith again. And he's cozying just exactly what we told you months ago was going to happen after the city sister thing was blown up by Major League Baseball, which, of course, we told you it was going to be eventually. So, yeah, this is exactly what's happening. At every step of the way, we've kind of told you where this is going to go. So now this is the phase where Stu goes back to St. Petersburg. We have a new mayor, so we can play this mayor and and figure out how we can get Hillsborough County to come up with more money. And now we see these reports come out that Las Vegas now it looks like a destination point for the A's. And if you can help me a little bit here, because I didn't read that whole article, Nick Geddes, that the Major League Baseball is going to waive the relocation fees if they go to Vegas. And this is a very different situation than Tampa Bay, obviously, because they already have a team in the San Francisco, Oakland market. So if one leaves for another market and they waive the fees, it's not that big a deal because they still have these other 4 or 5 markets. I'm talking about Charlotte, Portland, San Antonio, Nashville is also a big player here. Which I think is somewhere that baseball really wants to go, is Nashville. So it still has those places open for the 2 expansion cities that they're looking for. Since there's no other team, obviously, in this marketplace, baseball does not want to leave it. And baseball would never leave the San Francisco market, but they already have a team there. So it's a different situation. That's why they would waive it for the A's and not the Rays. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I kind of got snippets of the article. I couldn't read the whole thing because there was a
paywall.
Paywall.
The dreaded paywall.
There always is a paywall for these things. And I will not be suckered into the free trials because I always forget.
Even if you don't forget it, you go back and decline it, you still get dinged.
I still get somehow charged.
Exactly.
So I didn't do that. So I read, honestly, mostly just the Rays parts. I'm not even really concerned about what's going on in Oakland.
Right.
But yeah, the understanding there is that they will waive the fee for Oakland, but not for Tampa Bay. And as we said, there has to be a reason for that.
Yeah, it's so it's a different situation entirely. The Major League Baseball has no interest in waiving the relocation fees for Tampa Bay for an owner that Major League Baseball now has clearly shown they do not favor. If they were all buddy with him, then they would have helped him more in the sister city thing, and that was never going to happen anyway. As we told you, the Major League Baseball Players Association was never going to go along with that. As soon as they started bargaining in the CBA and that came up, that's how quickly the sister city thing went away, as we told you it would. So, look, I think Tampa is obviously the spot to be. And the fact that Stu was not negotiating in good faith is horrible. It's terrible, and he needs to be held accountable for it. And Rob Manfred coming in here saying, telling the officials, "Oh, time's ticking, we got to get it done," does nothing. What he needs to do is sit down with his owner, which he can, like. How weird is it that Manfred came into town, talked to the players, and never met with Stu Sternberg? I mean,
like I said,
in a stadium, in a crucial time for the stadium situation. That's just bizarre.
Like I said, the Rays are playing second fiddle to stadium priority here in the MLB. They're not even the priority. It's always been about Oakland. This article written in the Tampa Bay Sports Journal, I think the Oakland stuff, was it not listed first as well?
Yeah.
In a Tampa Bay Business Journal article. Yeah. Like the Oakland stuff is always the national stuff too. I know it being at Outkick, like we write everything based on what Oakland's doing, not what the Rays are really doing.
Because I think in Major League Baseball's minds, I think they know that they can get a deal done here. The Rays aren't going anywhere. They're going to get a deal done. And again,
perhaps,
and this is what really scares me. If some outside force comes in, and I've heard that there's some big money sniffing around, a private benefactor that wants to go in, partners with Stu on the stadium in St. Petersburg, it's going to be a disaster, just like Miami. You can't. I don't care how nice a stadium you build, and you can debate whether the Miami Stadium's great. I've not been there, but it doesn't matter if you put it in a failed location like they did. It's not going to work, and you're just wasting money. Now I know. It basically, Stu's got his panties in a wad. He's mad at Ken Hagan. He's mad at everybody that over here that poo-pooed his sister city plan, and he just needs to get over it. Or again, I wish Manfred would just take him out like you did Vince Namoli. I mean, I don't understand. Rob Manfred, don't you understand that this is going to be an easy fix if you just put somebody else in charge and get that $500 million back that belongs to the Rays ownership group, not solely to Stu Sternberg? And because that money was fronted on the TV contract that they did with the regional sports network before all that stuff blew up. So, if he's going to take that money and run, why is Major League Baseball allowing him to do that? I mean, you have an area here that loves baseball, loves the Rays. It's a great area. It's growing leaps and bounds. The number 3 city to move to in the United States. Florida is the destination state for so many. We just took in $27.3 billion in new wealth of people relocating here, which is 3 times the next the biggest in Texas. I mean, this is where baseball needs. A lot of these people are coming from the north, and they're traditional baseball fans. You don't want to leave this market, and it would be so easy to get it done. But this is the one guy. And hearing this morning from the people that are involved in these negotiations that once again the Rays are not bargaining in good faith is very depressing, and it just pisses me off. It's tiresome. It's tiresome. It would be so easy to get this done, and for the want of one man. And it's and the fact that, and this is the thing that really chaps my ass, is that the local TV stations, the Times is not going to take Sternberg to task on anything. It's never going to happen. They're going to walk out his false narratives for the sister city plan like they did and everything else, and continue to do it. But I'm surprised that the TV stations and other people in this market. Now, Creative Loafing has certainly taken him to task, but that's the only publication that's really done it, when it's clear as day that he is the issue. Like when other negotiations to get stadiums done, don't go like this. You don't have owners hiding in the shadows like, oh, we're not going to tell you what our plans are. Just tell us how much money you're going to give us. What is that? That's stupid. That's not how you negotiate. That's just childlike. And yet he gets away with it, and nobody calls. And there's 2 regions, millions of people that are affected by these decisions. You would think that, especially the Times working for the people in the redevelopment of St. Petersburg, that would be something that's rather important to them. And the fact that, and they'll never say that this is the guy that's holding it up. It's awful. It's awful. All right. Do we, I want to get to a little bit more in depth on what's going on with the Lightning. Do we have the Brisebois sound? Or
we have not yet. No, we have a lot of. I imagine they're probably swarmed right now, the Lightning team, because it's been Hedman spoke, Paul spoke, Stamkos spoke, so I'm sure they're probably going through all that. So that hasn't been up yet. But we relayed over the gist of the major injuries, right?
Let's do that. Let's do that again. I'm trying to find the injury list.
Yeah, I have it up here again.
All right, go right ahead.
Braden Point, the big one, significant tear in the quad. Belmar with a meniscus injury going to the playoffs. Sorelli, AC joint sprain, will need surgery. McDonough with a mangled finger. I love how, like, in a hockey injury report, you only get mangled finger, but you got that with Ryan McDonough. Kucherov had said meniscus, but I've also seen I think MCL sprain. I think I've seen that one more. So I'm assuming that it's actually an MCL sprain.
Yeah.
For Kucherov and not a meniscus. Brandon Hagel played through a foot fracture that he got in the Florida series.
That's incredible.
Nick Paul, shoulder AC joint sprain and MCL sprain. Corey Perry, shoulder AC joint sprain. I think those are the extent of the injuries that we've heard so far.
I mean, and you just see the key players,
a lot of key players,
and how that affects how you play. I mean, Kucherov, when you have a sprained MCL, you just can't cut like you normally would. You can't do what he did to Ekblad. You can't do even that early in the series. Remember the pass to Palat, that move he put on Taze, I think it was, or maybe Makar. Unbelievable. And we didn't see that. We didn't see any real Cooch magic in the after he got hurt, after he got slammed into the boards. Remember, his whole game kind of got really, really bland. And you saw the frustration at the end of the game when he broke his stick. So, obviously Braden Point, I mean, my God, not having him. And again, we have to preface this by saying we're not saying this as excuses. These are facts. These are reasons. The Avs are the champs. They had bumps and bruises too. They played great. Much respect to them. But these are reasons, and we have to understand it moving forward, because a healthy team would have been a different situation.
Yeah, and that's why I was going to get to this right here. I don't know if you saw this. Val Nichushkin, this was his foot after the game. Look at that. And there was like a report where he came into the arena and he had like a boot on his foot. And there was like, is he even going to play? He played, and he played 23 minutes going through this, and he had to get help, medical assistance, to put on his skates before playing that game. These guys are absolutely nuts. And look at this one after the game's over. I'm like one of these like Home Depot carts because he couldn't walk.
Unbelievable.
I mean, both sides. Yeah. And we know. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. If you go this far in the playoffs, you're always going to have injuries. They're not excuses. I think the Braden Point one, I would have been very curious to see how this series went with a healthy-ish Braden Point, but clearly a severe torn quad. I mean, I had my doubts that he was anywhere near that he was going to play at all. He played the first two games, not clearly effective whatsoever. He probably tore that whole thing off the bone, if I had to imagine.
Yeah.
But he'll probably have a lot of long recoveries. That was
kind of as I recall, a little bit of a dirty hit from behind.
Was it Giordano?
Yeah.
I guess a little bit after the play, but kind of an awkward slide.
Yeah.
Nothing you can really do about it. But yeah, if there's, like I said yesterday, the appreciation I have for the teams that get this far in the Stanley Cup playoffs, they are just a different breed. They are a different breed.
Yeah, I was looking at some of the quotes that Joe Smith put up. As Brisebois said, I don't think we're done chasing Stanley Cups here. We're set up to be a really competitive team for the foreseeable future. From this one from Steven Stamkos, of the three runs, this is the one we didn't win, but we might be the most proud of in terms of how hard it was to get here. I mean, first time you've ever played four teams with 50 wins, 100 points. Mm-hmm. You played the Vezina winner. You beat the Vezina winner in Shesterkin. You played the Norris winner in the Avs and took them to 6 games, 2 overtimes. All these injuries. You had the Hart winner,
and the Rocket Richard,
and the Rocket Richard winner,
and then the President's Trophy.
And you were doing it without your best player in Braden Point, your best all-around player in Braden Point. I mean, yeah. So what Stamkos said, and I was actually texting with Steve Levy last night. I guess he wouldn't give the Bolts the dynasty term because they didn't win 3, which I get. I understand. I'm like, it's a salary cap dynasty, though. 6 conference finals in 8
years.
8 years, 4 finals in 8 years. That's a salary cap dynasty in my. And then you throw this in there with the road they had to go. And I look at the Avs road, and I'm gonna go. You played a bunch of beer league goalies. I don't want to diminish it because I have a lot of respect for the organization.
No.
They're a class organization. It's not like they're the Rangers or something, or the Panthers, or Toronto. No, So I want to give them their due, but these are all reasons.
Yeah, but
I mean, come on.
I told you though yesterday that this Avs team, you just have to chalk it up as this was an all-time team in their own right. And
Yeah.
I think only 5 teams have ever gone 16-4 or better.
Yeah.
In the postseason all time. I mean, think about that. Only 5 teams, I think, have done that. I mean, just an incredible run despite who they played. But the Lightning, that's why, I'm not really sulking right now about the Lightning. And it has nothing to do with the fact that they won the 2 cups either. Like that. And then,
well, if we didn't have the 2 cups, it would hurt a lot more.
Yeah, it probably
would hurt a lot more.
It's not really where the focus of mine comes from because I still look at what this team accomplished and I look at how beat up they were. And everybody was against them. This was the first year where everything was literally going against this team. And I don't know how many times that at least I just thought this team was dead. Just they're done. Mm-hmm. And they just won't die. They just won't die. And I don't even say they're still not dead right now. I don't even think they're dead. I think right now they just got knocked down a little bit and they couldn't get up before the 10 count. I don't think they're dead.
And they still almost won. If they won one of those overtimes or 2 of the overtime, they'd have won a cup like this.
That's what I'm saying.
They were damn
what are
close
the
to winning
odds the Lightning?
We'd have a boat parade. We have to bring in one of those hospital ships.
Yeah.
Just to have a boat parade. All the guys would be like hooked up to IV units after surgery, standing on the balcony of the hospital ship. Hey, we won a cup. I can't lift it up, but here it is.
Yeah. But, the thing that's, again, the Lightning just have these guys. It feels like every player on this team has this hunger to keep winning more. And maybe on teams you'll have like a guy or two that's like that. Like, you think about like Tom Brady's a great example because he's right here in our backyard. Look at his hunger to win no matter what he's done.
Yeah.
He can't stop playing because he loves that feeling of winning.
Yeah.
Tiger Woods has every excuse not to ever hit a golf ball again. He can't stop playing. He can't stop playing, but even no matter what it's doing to his body and his life.
Like we're watching Rafael Nadal right here.
Yeah, I'm watching Rafael Nadal right here, who, again, has no excuse to – doesn't have to play another thing in tennis ever again. My point with that is in hockey, it just seems like the Lightning have a whole team of guys. Look at Pat Maroon. Pat Maroon has won 3 Stanley Cups in a row. He won 15 series in a row. Did you watch his press conference after the game?
We should play a little bit.
We should play a little bit of it, honestly.
We didn't have time to play it yesterday.
But he was crying.
He's in tears.
He was crying, a grown man crying after losing the Stanley Cup ever. He just won 3 in a row and was basically immortalized in hockey history for that.
Yeah.
And he said that one stung more than anything.
Well, now we know why.
And now we know why. And he said, you're going to be shocked when you see the injury report and all that. I mean, Steven Stamkos, a captain of 2 Stanley Cup teams, has been through so much in his career. Look at the way he spoke after. Look at Vasilevsky. And this was a good thing to point out, too. The Lightning literally had about, 15 minutes on the ice, I'd say. 20 minutes on the ice maybe after they actually lost because they stayed around for a while.
Yeah.
You obviously do the handshakes.
Yeah.
Everybody spoke and then salute the fans. Vasilevsky had all that time to, digest what happened. And what was his reaction when he got back down the tunnel? Pissed. Tossing shit around, throwing helmets, pissed. Like he wanted to go back out there.
Yeah.
This is just a rare team of group of players that just won't stop until they keep winning everything.
Well, think about Vasilevsky. Think if you're sitting in his skates. All right, you got to lead in every one of those games. They had a 1-0 lead in the last 3 games, I think it was. And when he gets a lead, he expects to hold it. And whether it's even when they scored 38 seconds into the game, I guarantee you Vasilevsky was like, okay, I'm going to shut him out. We're going to win this thing. I got 3 periods to shut him out. And when you go back and look at all the goals, and again, I know this sounds like belly aching. It's a lot of bullshit going in the net, man. There's a lot of off skates.
It is what it is.
Off knees, off
it's
this.
The breaks,
it's the breaks of the game. And again, they I guess the Times did a little bit of analytics on it and showed that it was closer than many people think. And you could look at all these injuries, and I know the Abs had some too, but maybe it's not as many to key players. I don't know. They didn't do their injury report yet, but they might. It's just amazing what this team did. That's why Stamkos is like, yeah, we didn't win, but I'm more proud of this team than any of them. I mean, just you got to
It
salute
was the
these
hard because
guys.
it was the hardest. I think this was the hardest one to win yet.
Yeah.
I think.
And the
of
two
ones they went
elimination
after.
games against Toronto, sweeping Florida, who's so good,
Overcoming the deficit in New York.
the New York. Yes. I mean, time and time again.
And I tell you what, you could play the woulda, coulda, shoulda game all you want and the if and that. And I just had this feeling if the Lightning would have pulled that game out in game 6, given even just throwing all the stats out the window, the numbers, everything's against them. I just had the feeling that Vasilevsky in a game 7, I don't know why, but how could you go against him if it got there? And it just, I feel like we really should be previewing a game 7. I wish we were. I really wish we were because I'd be very interesting to see what happens. But
you know how tight the Avs would be.
Oh, and that building,
the pressure of just all the disappointment comes out. The disappointment turns into pressure. It doesn't turn into motivation.
Yeah.
All you can think of is, holy crap, we had a 3-1 lead on these guys, and here we are in game 7, and these mofos will just not go away.
Yeah, they just won't go away. But
won't go away.
I tell you what, though, I mean, Twitter is a cesspool. We know that.
Yeah.
And I know that you can't gauge that by the entire population, but I'm seeing all these hockey fans, they're so
they hate us.
They're so excited the Lightning are out. They're so it's a great day for the NHL. The Lightning didn't win. Everybody wants to bring up their arguments. And, the people that are saying this, you know what fans they are? They're New York fans. They're Philadelphia fans. They're Montreal fans. They're Toronto fans. You get to where I'm going here. It's markets who haven't won shit in this entire century.
Exactly.
And they're jealous because they play in traditional hockey markets, play in a real arena, and you've won nothing in the salary cap era. You won nothing. Nothing. And you're worrying about what the Lightning are doing because they beat your ass every single year. This is the greatest team in the salary cap era. It's unprecedented. End of story. You could have won those championships. You didn't win those championships. Lightning did.
That's right.
So they had a
shot.
People hate winners, JP.
I know they do. I know they do.
I didn't realize,
especially on Twitter.
And I didn't realize this until the Bucks won something, and then the Lightning won the first one. People hate winners.
Yeah. You know what, though? Again, Twitter represents about 3% of the population, and then on Twitter, it just seems every a-hole gets their voice magnified. And it just you got to just we're whistling in the wind. Who cares?
Yeah.
What are they going to do? Come take the cup away? No. And the people, and when you do that, that's why I try to make that qualify all these things I'm saying about the Bolts with giving full credit to the Avs. I'm not taking anything away from what they did.
No.
We're not doing that. We're not doing like these Twitter trolls do to the Lightning. We're not trying to diminish something that you couldn't accomplish.
Yeah, they got no and they also got no profile picture. You have another grown man,
Matt 97046.
You have another grown man that you don't know as your profile picture on Twitter.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm supposed to take you serious?
You go into you look, they got 2 followers. Whatever. To me, it's fodder. I got plenty of trolls out there that, they can say whatever they want to say, but we're the ones talking to the people that are in the negotiations, and they're not. So who's got better information? Who's got more? And those other people won't talk to them because they've been treated, let's just say, illegitimately. Let's just put it that way. I want a big thanks to the Move the Race to Tampa group. They're great supporters of the show. And I see all your comments on the rant early on in the show, and I really appreciate it. We'll put that up obviously after the show if you missed it. As he said, JP rants are legendary. I did go off a little this morning. Man, it's my passion. I just, I want to see that. I just want them here for a long time, and I want them to be successful. I have nothing against St. Petersburg. I love downtown St. Petersburg. I go there as much as I can. It's just not the place for a baseball stadium. It's the place for so much more, Mm-hmm. And this is where the baseball stadium should be, and it's with the best for all concerns. And it should happen. It would have happened by now if not for one man.
And I'm laughing over here because I'm reading through all these. It looks like everybody's speaking today for the Lightning.
Yeah,
like everybody's speaking.
We'll have a lot of sound for you tomorrow.
I can't wait to go to the sound, but I'm like reading some of the quotes, and like Vasilevsky was asked to sum up what he's feeling right now, and he's like, it feels like a cold shower. That was his way of summing up what this loss feels like.
I like cold showers.
You like cold showers?
They're invigorating. Yeah, it's an actual. It's very much part of a healthy routine. We'll get it. I need to get Chris Lugo on here from Bay Area Modern Medical Center to talk about cold showers and cold tubs.
You sit in those cold tubs. I see all these people.
Cold tubs are tough,
They do
man.
this for clout on Instagram. They sit in these like 30-degree tubs with all this ice in it.
Yeah.
And they sit there and they don't move. Like tough guy.
It's hard. It's not easy.
No, I'm not. I'm good.
You got to get through like the first 2 minutes, and then your body gets numb, and then you're okay.
Well, Andre Vasilevsky doesn't like a cold shower. We just realized that today.
Okay.
So
yeah.
So
that's a bad thing.
I side with him.
Yeah. No, and it's got to be so frustrating for him. I mean, he blocks all these shots. He makes all these amazing saves, and then that BS goes in, off of somebody's skate or your.
Yeah, and I find it too. I go back to this, and I guess, sometimes you just have to close Twitter and realize these are all trolls.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
There's a lot of people that, again, wanted to run their mouth. The first 2 games of the Rangers series where Vasilevsky wasn't great, people were running him. Oh, this is the goalie y'all said was on the Mount Rushmore because he had 2 off games. And what did he do the rest of the series?
Yeah.
And then in this series, again, he has 2 off games. This was the goalie y'all hyped on the Mount Rushmore. He's not that good. All of a sudden, he's not the best. He's just not good anymore. Like, the standard I get is high for these goalies. But, I mean, do you understand where the Lightning would have been without Vasilevsky this playoff run?
No.
How many did the Lightning play? Let me ask you this. Did the Lightning play to their best, their absolute best at lots of points during this postseason, or did they have to claw their way and count on great goaltending for Vasilevsky?
Yeah, that's
be honest about it.
Yeah. Well, I don't get what the deal is if you say, oh, well, you guys got Vasilevsky.
Okay,
it's like
you
saying,
don't.
Okay, you got Makar. I mean, what's the difference? Just because he's a goalie, he doesn't count.
That's what I don't get it. It's like you ask.
Oh, you guys got Tom Brady.
You ask the Lightning. If you were to ask anybody in the Lightning, what's the key to your success? Go find an Andre Vasilevsky. You know what Gabriel Landeskog said when he was asked about how would you emulate what you just did? He said, go find a Kale Makar.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
Right.
But you got to find them.
Right.
So I don't understand that. Just because he's a goaltender, it's any less.
Yeah. Without Vasilevsky.
Oh, I love the one too. Oh, his pads are too big. They need to inspect his pads.
Oh, shut up.
Like, really?
Unbelievable. All right. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk a little about the Rays series with the Brewers. Our good friend Willie Adames is back. Hopefully he still can't hit in the drop. That's what we're hoping for anyway. So we'll hit that, and we'll get to the Deshaun Watson thing, which is mind-blowing in and of itself. Stay with us. Italiano Insurance has been serving and working in our community for over 60 years, and it's not just about insuring all the pieces of your life. Italiano is as much a part of Tampa Bay as the Cuban sandwich, Gasparilla, and our Bucks, Lightning, and Rays. They're also active supporters of great charities like the Humane Society, Metropolitan Ministries, and local pediatric cancer centers. Hey, we all need insurance, so do business with a local company with a commitment to our community. Don't call some 1-800 number. Call Italiano and be greeted by one of your neighbors. That's 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com. Named the Small Business of the Year by the Tampa Chamber. 813-877-7799.
Cryptocurrency is all the rage today. The market cap for the industry is now over $1 trillion. And you read about people making millions of dollars, right? You want to get in, but have no idea what to do? Or maybe you dabbled a bit and you want to unlock the real money-making opportunities and don't know how to do it. There are over 10,000 tokens and thousands of decentralized finance exchanges to navigate. So what do? You go to DeFiLava.com. The folks at DeFiLava.com are in Tampa Bay, and they work with you directly to set up custom accounts, answer all your questions, and provide market analysis. Decentralized finance and cryptocurrencies are here to stay and will change the financial markets as we know them. Get in the game. Get with the experts at DeFiLava.com and tell them JP sent you, and get their free 2022 crypto market forecast today at DeFiLava.com. Don't get left behind, folks. Make some money at DeFiLava.com.
The world economy is in chaos, and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center in our second hour. Also by American Mortgage Services, our good friend Scott Fitzgerald. Rates are going to go up, are going to keep going up. So if you're, we told you that a few months ago. If you're still looking to refinance, they're still lower than they're going to be. So if you've waited too long, it's still a good time to do it because you got to get the money out of your house. And the market, by the way, is cooling as well. So the prices are going to come down a little bit because the rates are going up. So you can still refinance, though, and get that money out of your house for much lower than you're probably paying on your credit cards and everything else. So remember, Scott Fitzgerald is the guy that can get it to you for very, very low dollars. Just bring your closing sheet, whatever it is that your other company has given you. He will match that and probably give you a lot less fees. He does not charge the big lender fees, does not charge the big bank fees, and he shops your loan out to all the different places, and it's never been more important. Plus, they have a brand new program over there that is a government program that has just been funded, and it works in certain zip codes, and they're the only ones offering it. So if you're looking to buy in Seminole Heights, Ybor City, some places that may be on the up and coming kind of deal right there, you can probably get a lower rate than market rate. So you just got to email him and find out. Scott@amstampa.com. Scott@amstampa.com can probably save you a ton of money, like he did for you, Nick.
Yeah, Scott's the best, the absolute best. And like I said, you can call him at any time. You can email him at any time. You're going to get a response right away, 24/7. Doesn't matter if it's a holiday. Doesn't matter what he's doing. Always there to help, and the best in the business.
I told you the other day I was playing, or he was playing blackjack. I was watching, and he was in the middle of a big run, got a phone call, and got up and literally took the phone call. I'm like, damn, who was that? Everything okay? I thought maybe, the relative was dead or something. He's like, no, that's just somebody needing a loan. I'm working on their loan for him. I'm like, you got up on a heater like that to take a call? He's like, yeah, that's what he always does. How about that?
It's the best.
That's the best. Scott@amstampa.com. That's the one to look for. You were going to say? Or you were just chiming in on?
Oh yeah, just wanted to chime in there. Just
good.
great guy.
Good for you. All right, so the Brewers are in town, and that means Willie Adames is here. We got JP Fireisen and Drew Rasmussen for him, even though he's had a great. It's one of those trades that works out for both teams.
Yes.
I'd make that trade again in a heartbeat.
But I think trades, like a lot of the story is, and I think we're on the same page. It's like, what did you do when you were with the team you were with?
Exactly.
I think a lot of the scenario, like I feel like we overreact when trades like that happen. And like a great example is like Blake Snell, if you haven't taken notice, is like
not good.
One of the worst pitchers in baseball this year, I'd argue.
Padres are 12-22 in his starts.
Yeah,
it's
not good. I'm sure you saw the Bryce Harper injury.
Yeah,
because Snell had no command.
He had no command.
He looks like pre-Cy Young Snell that just could not find the zone. It's very odd.
Yeah,
but the Rays look great for making the trade. But again, I know what Blake Snell did when he was here.
Exactly.
And I don't think his heart was really in that move going to San Diego. Remember when he wrote that big article about how he wasn't really. So I think there's something deeper to that, honestly, than what's going on.
That's also the coaching. I mean,
yeah,
we think across the board, every team has good coaching. I'm like, no, it's not true.
No, the Rays are one of the best. Don't mistake.
They between the analytics and how they match up their defense with their pitching, and they've just done a tremendous job of getting the most out of pitchers and their spin rates and everything else. They're just really, really good at it. And they put Blake in a really, really good position to maximize his abilities. And, he won a Cy Young. Yeah. So when they go other places and they don't produce, I don't think that means that, one thing or the other. I know how they produced when they were here, and that's what you should go on. I think.
Yeah. But I did say yesterday, I'm like, Isak Paredes, I love it. It just AL Player of the Week, by the way, yesterday it was announced. So nobody hotter right now in the game of baseball than Isak Paredes, and that's great to see. And even McClanahan, who the Rays look great for going with McClanahan right now. I mean, we already know the excellence. How about listen to these stats, the last 9 starts. And these are not anything crazy. They're not analytical. These are easy stats for you to understand. His last 9 starts, his ERA is 107, 76 strikeouts, only 6 walks, and 59 innings, and has tossed at least 6 innings, allowing 2 earned runs or fewer in each appearance. His last 9 starts.
I mean,
that's just unreal.
You can't do any better than that
in
baseball.
No, you can't. I mean, I think,
and that's with very little run support, by the way, which shouldn't affect your pitching, but it does.
Yeah,
very little run support, and a defense that's been frankly atrocious this year.
Yeah, I said it yesterday. He has to start the All-Star game at this moment. You can talk to me about your Garrett Coles and your Nestor Cortez and your Shohei Ohtanis, who will probably end up starting the All-Star game. If we're going to be honest here, because
most of America has no idea who Shane McClanahan is.
It is a shame because
really
this guy is unbelievable. He's going to lead the league in strikeout. He might have 300 plus Ks this year too.
I got an idea. A crazy idea. If MLB would actually force the networks to put some other teams beside the Yankees and Dodgers and Braves.
The Cubs are on TV all the time.
Mets,
out loud.
People might learn about these.
Have the Rays been on ESPN at all this year?
I don't think so.
I don't think we sniffed it.
No, I don't think we've had a national.
Which
game.
I mean, I don't like watching the national broadcast, but I just like the exposure.
Well, that's why nobody knows who Shane McClanahan is. Every Sunday night it's the same teams.
Yeah.
It's always the same showcase.
I don't
teams.
even watch anymore. They've the same matchups just bore the crap out of me.
I watched a little Braves Dodgers the other night. It was fun to see
Freddie Freeman back.
The Dodgers have become like the Yankees to me now.
Oh, that they are. They're the Yankees of the
It's just
West.
ridiculous. The payroll is ridiculous. Baseball is
no. But anyway, we do have Rays baseball tonight against the Brewers, a quality opponent coming in, leading the NL Central, if I'm not mistaken. So another litmus test for the Rays, I'd argue, a team they don't see often. And the pitching matchup tonight is great, Woodruff and Baz. And I'm excited to watch Baz tonight. I mean, all of his starts, I've always had something else going on. The Rays obviously are by themselves now. So
he's still trying to put it together. When I saw him pitch the other day, the stuff is just phenomenal.
Yeah, and I think this might be the start where he has a chance to let him loose a little bit. Let's see how far he can go. Hopefully the Rays can get some runs off of Woodruff, who's actually struggled this year more so than recent years. So and the Rays have some hotter hitters than they have going into other series. So I think it plays well for them. And tell you what, too, I was looking at this. There's this debate going on. I don't know if you've seen this about what's the toughest division in baseball. I'm like, the AL East is obvious, right?
Yeah.
And I think Dave Roberts said, I dare.
West is pretty tough.
Yeah, Dave Roberts said something about I dare everybody to play the teams we have to play.
Yeah.
I took a look at the standings. Okay. First of all, the Diamondbacks and the Rockies are both under 500 by a good amount. 8 games and 10 games under 500.
They're not great teams.
They're not great teams. For the Rays are 40-32 and are in 4th place in the AL East. The Rays would be in 2nd place in nearly every division with that record.
You also have to look at the schedules too, and then teams beating up each other. I mean, the Giants, the Dodgers, and the Padres they're talented teams.
Yeah, and
really talented teams.
And by the way, I know we don't. Why would we talk about the Orioles? But did you know that the Orioles just had their first winning month since August of 2017?
They've got some good young players.
They're only
as do
5
the
games under 500.
Yeah.
The Orioles.
Yeah.
I mean, that just shows you the Rays had a tough series in Baltimore, but that's actually a team that's been playing well. We know they've caused the Yankees fits the last few years. The division, I'd argue right now, is as tough as it's been in a long time.
Yeah. There's no freebies in this division. Not anymore.
I say that knowing that the Rays are 40-32 with a boatload of injuries and a boatload of AAA guys playing in their lineup. And I'm sitting here today, and I think we've been saying it a lot. I have no idea how they're 40-32.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling to have given up the most unearned runs. I think they've committed the most outs on the bases. It's just fundamentally they've been terrible, and their offense is
hit or miss.
It's been mostly miss. If not for Isak Paredes, who wins the Player of the Week in the American League, 11 for 19, 5 home runs, 2 doubles, 9 RBIs. And a 2.093 OPS over 5 games. including a 7-3 3-homer game in Rays franchise. Have a week, Itzhak Paredes.
I'm starting the discussion.
He might get to the 106 RBIs by the time the season's over.
How many? I mean, can he hit? This might be a little ambitious. Can he hit 30 bombs this year? Can he get there?
I don't know. I mean, who knows? Who knows?
Can you imagine, though, if he gets to 30 bombs? He came in, and that was like his weakness, really. He was more of a contact on-base guy.
Well, he's on pace for it. He's at 10 homers?
Got 10 homers.
We're about a third away.
A little bit over a third in.
Yeah. So, yeah.
You just have to keep – I mean, he's not going to keep this pace up. Don't get me wrong. But early returns on investment of that trade look good.
Look really good.
Look really, really good.
Yeah.
And now you're getting Wander back into the lineup.
Well, the key to the whole thing is getting Josh Lowe going. If Josh Lowe can go as well and start hitting like we think he can.
He has.
Yeah. Then, and it's funny because our expectations of all these rookies when they come up is, be Randy Arozarena right away. It doesn't happen.
No,
it doesn't happen. It takes, it takes years to really figure out how to play in this league. And it's only the superstars like Wander Franco. Well, look at Wander. Wander's even struggling.
He didn't come in lighting it up either when he first got here.
Yeah, but he had a first, good half season.
Yeah.
And we saw that, we saw what we saw. And yeah, he's going to be a great player, but everybody goes through ups and downs. And right now he's going through it a little bit with the injuries and whatnot. So, yeah, I mean, we're not here to say Paredes is going to keep doing this. He will likely not. That's just the way the history of baseball has gone. But it's nice to see somebody step up and win some games this week and get back on the positive side. And they got the Brewers, and then what's the rest of their schedule here as they move forward? They got 2 games with the Brew Crew coming in here, and then
out to Toronto for a 4-game set, which is going to be interesting because we're going to find out who is vaccinated and is not vaccinated on this team.
Totally forgot about that.
We have to think about that now because I know there's been a handful of teams that have gone up in Toronto, have been without multiple players. So
get me started on this.
I'm not trying to get you on a tangent here, but I'm just pointing it out there that it'll be likely that they probably have some guys. So
we could do a whole political thing here. Ooh, I bet I know which guys are there in the bullpen.
I don't want to. I wasn't going to go there, but I guess it writes itself. To be honest with you, but
what if that's true? What if it's all the same guys?
Then get ready for it. Then
it's gonna. Oh, Mark Tompkins gonna have a field day with this one.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna be the lead story.
But anyway,
here we go. We don't want to talk about the stadium deal and how the owners holding it up in both markets, but damn, we're going to find out who's wearing patches and who's not wearing patches. That's for damn sure. And who's vaccinated and who's not vaccinated. We're not going to look into this lawsuit at all, your owner defrauding his partners. We're not going to write any stories on that or how he's not negotiating in good faith with both sides. We're not going to do anything on that. But dadgummit, if somebody ain't got a patch on, we going to be up in that.
Well, would you look at that? There's Serena Williams on our screen.
Oh.
As I try to divert you elsewhere.
Is that what it's come to?
Yeah.
Is that what it's really come to?
Yeah. I'm putting you're gonna be on a pitch count. You're gonna be like a Rays starting pitcher from here on out.
You think that's good for the show? They tend to like my rants.
Well,
the fans out there. I don't know.
Well, I don't, and I'm on the show, so I'm gonna.
You're providing balance, which is good.
I'm giving you balance,
which is good. No, I totally respect that. I did want to touch on a couple of things because we got a lot of reaction here on Twitter today to the rants. And here's an interesting one. This is from Kevin King. He says, the narratives that St. Pete is a failed location may be a cemented sentiment, but it's false. Attendance isn't as great as the owner wants, but he keeps getting richer. Team value is going up. Winning is good. Talking heads need to stop fixating on crowds as the sole metric for success. Now, you'll find this crazy, Kevin, but I agree with you in some ways. Yeah, I've always said that define success. The team has been successful in terms of monetarily, at least the owner has. But to me, it's not just about the owner making money, and it's not just about the team winning games. To me, success is like, does it serve the whole community? Is there a better way to do this in terms of is it a success? And I think that's a much better measure of success than just the other two things, right? because I don't think it serves the whole community because of the location, which we've been over times and time again. It would be much, and attendance to me is a factor in that. Yes, it does put more money in the pockets of the owners. So I don't know why they wouldn't want to come over here, but also it's serving the community better. Where I want to go to more baseball games, don't you? I mean, and if it were in Tampa, would you go to if it were in Tampa with reasonable ticket prices like every other team has? I would have gone to probably 10 to 15 games this year. I've gone to none. If we had an owner that I wanted to support, I would have gone to a lot more games. It's just the way things are. He makes it so difficult for you to go to games, and building another stadium in St. Petersburg is going to do the same thing. To me, it's not that hard. The travel itself, it's 25, 30 minutes. It's not that that's not really a thing for me. It is for a lot more people because I live in downtown Tampa. But for me, it's all those other things that keep me from going to games. And, again, so Kevin, I agree with you in some ways, but I think my definition of success might be different than yours. And my definition is, does it serve the majority? How could we do it better? And I think in all ways, with a new owner who would spend more money, would put the money back into the team, which clearly Stu Sternberg has not done. He said he does, but that's a complete lie. And we know that for a fact. Because we see in the lawsuit the money that he's taken out of the team, the $500 million, and put it into another company. And that's true. That happened, folks. That's not alleged. That they have proof of that. So and he's not, saying that that's not true. So yeah, so that's a bold-faced lie. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a great point that you bring up, but I think our definitions of failed location are different. Here's one from Benjamin Kirby. Don't know what JP's definition of failed location is, but now you do. But if I had a business and 10 years it was worth $1 billion, I don't think anyone would call it a failure. If I made $500 million more in development rights building on the same site, I'd say that's the opposite of failed. Yes, absolutely. For Stu Sternberg, this has been a great location. Absolutely. 100%. But is it great for the rest of the area? Is it great for the baseball fans? And I think that's a resounding no.
And wouldn't that area, that's the Trop side at least, if they redeveloped it, wouldn't it bring in a lot more cash flow than it does now, probably? Would you bet?
Oh, absolutely.
The other things that you could do there?
Oh, my God, yes. Yeah. I mean.
Listen, I'm just going to put it out there. I know Stu Sternberg, he does this for a reason. He runs it like a business.
Yeah.
As a businessman, we can poo-poo on his practices and the fact that we don't like the way he operates the baseball side of things. But as a businessman, yeah, I'm sure he's doing very well for himself.
He's crushing it for himself.
Crushing it. No, for himself.
For himself,
but
he's crushing it.
Let me tell you right now, when you're putting an average of 13,000 asses in a 20 by 20 seat or whatever it is,
ask the players if they like it.
Yeah,
that's a success.
When you're putting that many of an average in the seat, and a lot of those are under that from most nights. It's inflated because of the weekend.
Right.
I can't call that a good. Of a successful business.
No, these guys are saying, is it successful to Stu? Oh, hell yes,
it is. He is a great businessman by the definition.
But I think
he probably sets himself
for the baseball community and the fans. No, it's a failed model. We deserve a new stadium in a centrally located area. So it's pretty simple. All right, the Deshaun Watson thing. I want to get to that. So reports are that the NFL is going to recommend a year-long suspension. So now they're going to have a hearing today. And I don't know what that's going to be all about. They've already interviewed him and done their quote investigation. So I guess now it goes to the judge. They've appointed a judge that will then agree or disagree with what they've handed down. And then the Players Association has said they are going to appeal this year-long suspension. So this is going to go on and on. My guess is they put out a year, and then the Players Association bargains it down to 8 to 10 games, and then he'll play. And now if it's gonna stand as a year, if I'm Baker Mayfield and the Browns, I mean, y'all gotta put away your egos and do what's best for the team and the fans, and go play. Because Jacoby Brissett, I mean, I hate to say this, but Baker Mayfield, when healthy, showed that he can lead this team to the playoffs and get a win. And I think this team with Baker Mayfield can do that again. I think they've got enough weapons, and I think they both need to shell their egos and get that done. But we'll see how it goes. I mean, I don't give a rat's ass how Cleveland does, to be quite honest, but it seems a little weird, that whole situation. All right. Anything else that we've missed here? Anything that's come up from our Lightning players? Oh, Russell Westbrook has exercised his $44.7 million.
47. I was just gonna point that out here at the end. The NBA is it's funny to me. The offseason's like its own sport. And it's like Russell Westbrook now is going to sign $47 million for this guy. $47 million for that production.
He can't make a layup.
He can't shoot.
Can't shoot.
And then Kyrie Irving, how about yesterday morning? He's given permission to seek a sign and trade. And by 7:00 at night, Eastern time, he has no partners, no takers. Nobody wanted him.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted him.
Except
and he
the
has to
Lakers.
hightail himself back to the Nets. And you're going to tell me he's committed?
No.
I don't understand the NBA. I don't try to understand the NBA, but
no.
Go Magic.
Yeah, go Magic. Yeah. They could Jonathan Isaac back. That might be a fun little young team to watch this year. I would love that. I'd love
Magic
to see
are
that.
gonna win. Let me see. Let me formula. They're gonna win 29 games.
All right.
29 games.
You never know. Never know. All right. Our thanks to Scott Reynolds, who joined us today. If you missed the opening rant on Stu Sternberg, you want to go back and check that out. You can do that by going to our app, FanStream Sports. Download it, all one word. You can go to fanstreamsports.com. You go to YouTube, subscribe. Also on Apple and Spotify and Twitter and Facebook. Anywhere there, you can go watch the whole show or listen to it over again. You won't be sorry. Have a great day, everybody. Go Rays.